Hi everybody, it's Razavan Werder from the University of Mother God Church. Just cleaning up some of the stuff I left out and didn't finish about my youth from the time I can remember to about the age of 16, life with my mommy dearest and my evil brother and different people. One thing my dad did, I begged my dad to come live with him, and I resent this as I think back to it. It's proof he loved my mom, of course, more than me, and I thought he loved me as much as he loved her, but he didn't. He wouldn't take me to live with him, and he left me with the abuser, which is a very sad thing. With most kids, what happens is the dad abuses them, either beats them up or belittles them and humiliates them and ridicules them and bullies them, or sexually abuses them. And the mother sacrifices them, abandons them, is indifferent, doesn't care, and lets it happen. Or if she suspects it, she doesn't do anything about it. Or if she knows about it, she sometimes even doesn't care at all and even tells the child they deserve the abuse, so which is deadly, deadly, deadly. But to prove that my dad loved my mother more than me, which is sad to me, he sues this guy, MARIUS, her new boyfriend, husband, common law husband, for alienation of affection. Now, isn't that a riot? So I remember all of us went to the courthouse. I'll never forget the judge. Saw him at Thorne's Milk Bar. His name was Judge Brody, and this was in Freehold, New Jersey. So MARIUS BERNOTAS was sued by my father for alienation of affection. Can you imagine? And so we were all there because my mother wanted to bring probably sympathy for MARIUS, because I don't know what the consequences would be if he lost. I just don't know if he won or lost or what happened. This was around probably 1954. I was around 9 years old. And in Freehold, New Jersey. So it would still be on the record somewhere. So Judge Brody kept saying to MARIUS, now MARIUS couldn't hardly speak English that well, and he kept saying to him, asking him questions, and MARIUS kept repeating the same sentence over and over and over like 50 times. It's all my fault. And Judge Brody would say, what's your fault? And he'd say, it's all my fault. And he'd have hung his head down. Judge Brody, what's your fault? It's all my fault. What's your fault? That's all I can remember. But I think it's hilarious. All right, so that's one. We got that done. One incident. In the end, he went crazy. My mother threw him. I think I went over this already. I got this on one of the videos. She threw him out of the house because he started chasing. He was working 2 jobs. He didn't get enough sleep. He started chasing somebody in our family with a knife because they were harassing him and teasing him and, giving him a hard time. And he ran chasing the person down the street, and the person hid with a neighbor. And then my mother threw him out of the house, and he set up his room in the garage. Next to the garage there was this little room with a sliding door. He had a little heater. Believe me, in the winter that was not warm in there. He took his piano there, and you can just hear him, like the Phantom of the Opera, playing his piano. He was an organist, but it was just a piano, not an organ. And in the snow, and you could hear it reverberating through the hills. There was a little bit of hills there, not a lot. And he's playing that piano in the garage, and then he's hanging around the windows. Let me see the baby, let me see the baby, let me see the baby. And we're all spooked out. Oh my God, he's out in the full moon. MARIUS is out there in the full moon. So, that's it on that one. Okay, another incident. Well, maybe I'll talk about the farm since we're on the farm. The farm we did not have in the first few years. Then later my mother got a sugar daddy, and Mr. Riley, a Chevy salesman. He sold us a balloon car first. I think he conned us with this balloon car that should have been given away for free. And my brother on the farm, he drove it into a ditch and screwed it up. It never I don't remember how we got it out of the ditch and got rid of it. But uh, so Mr. Riley got a central heating, a new stove, a real stove, not a coal and wood stove, but a real one, nice one. Central heating, and he got storm windows on all our windows, especially upstairs where I was. Us kids were, and the house was then, oh, it was so luxurious to have central heating, and the heat wasn't escaping through those rickety windows, and we didn't have to get coal, and Marius didn't have to chop wood. Or maybe Marius was gone by then, but Marius always chopped the wood with, first he'd have to cut it down in the woods and bring it in and saw it with a hand saw, and chop it and chop it and chop it, you know, piles and piles and piles of wood for the whole winter. And for even the summer, we used it for cooking, on the stove, coal and wood. And Marius used to take a scythe, you know, by hand, cut all the wheat down. We had wheat, we had trees, we had strawberries, we had melons, we had cucumbers, tomatoes, beefsteak tomatoes, this big beefsteak tomatoes. And my mother was a genius. My mother and he, they were geniuses at gardening and agriculture, and Marius did so much work, it was unbelievable. He built an outdoor shower, and in the summer it had a big tub on top that was heated by the sun, and it was all wood. It was all wood, and you'd go in and you would turn on the shower, and oh, it was heavenly out there in nature, you know, the water running over you, and it's hot, and the water's heated by the sun, and you had a well, so it's clean water, no chlorine, no fluoride, and it's delightful. And Marius built that, and he built an outhouse. In the summer we used the outhouse, and he built a beautiful, a wooden lattice around it with a little seat near it, and it had a wisteria growing on it, and the wisteria grew beautifully and blossomed beautifully, and it had a wonderful aroma, so you couldn't smell the outdoor, you know, tub containing the foul matter and all that, and it was very nice, very nice. But the bathroom in the house, my job, I was always the cleaner. I had to do all the dirty work. So the bathroom in the house, I had to wash the walls. And every time I put a sponge on the walls, I'd get electric shocks. I'll never forget that. And the water was cold, so sometimes I didn't take a bath for months. And my mother did not provide me with any information of how to take a sponge bath with alcohol. She didn't provide any alcohol, because the way, if you don't have hot water, or if you don't have water, or if it's inconvenient, you take alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and you fill a washcloth with it, and you wash. You can't wash all your parts that way, but you've got to be more gentle with some parts, you know, that your genital organs, you have to have something much milder, like just a tiny bit of alcohol and water, or witch hazel and water. But you can take rubbing alcohol and clean your whole body, like especially, you know, under your arms and certain places where that would be sweaty, blah, blah, blah. And you can clean your whole body with alcohol. But my mother never taught me that, never provided any alcohol. So it was either in the winter and the bathroom wasn't heated, either go in there and take a shower, cold, freaking 30-degree water, or don't do it, you know. And we very rarely had like one of those ancient, you know, Western, like you see the guys in the big tub, they sitting in the tub in the saloon, you know, upstairs where they live, and they have this tub, and we had one of those, a big tub, but that only happened once every 3 months or something, you know. So that was my brother running around, I got to be naked with him running around, no, that was inconvenient. So I'll never forget that bathroom and how uncomfortable and how awful it was with the electric shocks on the wall when I'm cleaning everything, because in cold water, or not having any hot water for dishes or laundry. Or my mother had one of those ancient, you know, those round washing machines where you had to put the clothes, after you clean the clothes, wash them, they agitated it, you know, on top. You had to put the clothes through a wringer, and it was always malfunctioning. Always malfunctioning. Yeah, life was very hard. I could tell you hundreds of stories, but I don't know, it might bore you. So that's to be